YouTube. Welcome back, man. It's your favorite guru from Timu, and as y'all boys seen in the title, we're going to be talking about daily bias. Now, I am sick, and I have braces, rubber bands in my mouth. So if I'm slurring over my speech, I'm not editing this video. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing is I have came up with four things that help me find my daily bias. So what I mean by find it and what I'm gonna tell you what you can use daily bias for. It should be self-explanatory. Daily bias, the bias you're gonna have for the day. But some people not as smart. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to the explaining. Okay. Like I said, I'm not editing this video whatsoever. So, yeah. Let's go. All right. Today. All right. Let's just use today for example. The best present or the best I was gonna say something about the present. Right now is the best time to show you an example of what's going on. Now, first thing I typically do is check news because you can have your daily bias out and your news can completely throw you off, right? So if I go to Forex Factory, that's the first thing I do, right? Check news. We did have news today, right? So that is very important. Now, what is your daily bias used for, right? Why do I need a daily bias? It's just to help you understand what you're going to be looking for throughout the market. If you're going to be looking for sales, then you should have a sales daily bias, right? If you're going to be looking for buys, you should have a buying daily bias, right? And the daily bias just helps you look for your trade, find the direction that you want to go in for the day and execute it. That's it, man. That's why it's so important, and I think a lot of people struggle with it because there are different ways to find your bias. Don't mind my dog in the background if y'all can really see him like that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the first one. The first one was check news, right? Always check news because news can completely obliterate your bias for the day. So make sure you check news daily, right? If y'all boys don't know how to check news, we drop it in the Discord. Shameless plug. Okay, the next thing is check the higher time frames, right? So I don't start off on a daily. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. But everybody tells you to start off on a daily. I don't really look at the daily time frame because we have ranges like this, right? Like it's not really helpful. You get what I'm saying? Like now, what I will say, and that's going to be the next step, but let's look at the previous day. But we don't want to jump the gun, right? But looking at the daily time frame, it usually gives you the direction that the month is going on or the week is doing, whatever it may be. And you can go back to the seventh candle, which this would be a whole week right here. Dang, I instantly picked it out. I'm smart. But you can see on last Thursday, we just have been on a downtrend recently. You could do something like that if that's helpful. I typically don't use the daily time frame unless I'm looking at the previous day. Like I said, it's the next thing we're going to be talking about. But what I do look at is the 4 hour, right? 4 hours is more relevant to me. You feel me? I typically, if I want to look at the structure of the market, I'm going straight to the 4 hour, right? And on the 4 hour, we can see we're putting in higher highs. Not higher highs. What the world am I doing? Lower highs, if it'll let me. So, okay. All right. Lower highs. Right here. Lower lows. Lower highs. Right here. Lower lows. Lower highs. Lower lows. You get the picture. So on the 4 hour, it has really good. A really good structure that we're in the downtrend. Even over here, we're still struggling. Another thing is too, the 4 hour time frames gives me PDL rates that we can look for, right? So on the 4 hour time frame, those PDL rates are usually extremely strong. So if we look right now, we see we just swept this liquidity right here, and then we tapped into this 4 hour fair value gap right here, right? And we can see now we're starting to correct, right? Because overall we're in a bullish trend. We just have to correct down here, right? So now we're starting to correct. We took out all of this sell side liquidity. Now we should start back pushing up to the upside, right? That's just how typical market structure looks like. And it doesn't have to just be for the bias, like what's going on. Look over to the left, right? It don't have to just be from the past day or whatever. Look over to the left a lot, right? And that'll help you figure out where the market is going to and where the market will stop at, right? So your TP could have been right here. You get what I'm saying? I'm just giving y'all some tips. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, 4 hour, the 1 hour and the 4 hour usually give me my higher time frame PD arrays and my higher time frame bias, right? So I'm looking for today, mainly I'll be looking for sales. Why? Because we have been on a complete downtrend. You feel me? Previously we dumped. We came back up here during London session. We stagnated, but we ended up falling off, taking out this sell side liquidity over here and going down to previous day low, right? Previous day lows right here, and then the next candle we ended up dumping completely. That's what I would be looking for inside of the market. So let's go ahead and get to the next thing. Previous days highs, lows, sessions, whatever it may be, the previous day is probably going to be your best friend. Why? Because more than likely we're going to continue what we did on the day before, right? So if we are like today, for example, we are down, right? We're dropping down, right? And during a Asia session and London session, we really didn't move too much, but then we started to break through these lows, right? And now, why the previous day high and the previous day low is so good is because these are like magnets, right? So right here, we were drawn to this previous day high, right? This previous, not high, previous day low right here. This previous day low, we were drawn to. Why? Because that's the form of liquidity, and that gives you a strong bias for that day. If we're right here next to the previous day high up here or the previous day low down here, more than likely we're going to take that high or that low out first. So that gives you a quick trade to be looking for. And on gold, we can show you an example of previous day high being taken. I did take a L on that. Right here, for example. This was previous day high, I believe. This was previous day high right here. We ended up taking that out and we ended up continuing. We fell back into a 15-minute fair value gap and we ended up continuing. You get what I'm saying? Like we go to the daily time frame. This daily time frame. That's why I don't like the daily time frame, because this daily time frame does not make any sense. But you can see, let's delete all of these drawings. You can see right here we ended up closing above this high over here. So more than likely we're going to close above that high again, right? And today we failed to close, we failed to close above this high, right? And now we're going to go downwards, right? That is called open high close or something like that. I learned it a long time ago, and it's also lined up with a daily fair value gap, right? Continuing this on down. Yeah, gold structure is a lot more clean. But it does look a little more wicky, right? It's not really structured like how it usually be on NASDAQ. Just so y'all boys know, that's what I'm seeing, right? So yeah. First thing, so y'all boys aren't losing and you staying with me. Check news, because news can completely obliterate your bias for the day. The second thing, start on the higher time frame. Look what we have done previously, or look what the higher time frame is presenting. Are we presenting higher highs, higher lows for a bullish structure, or lower highs, lower lows for a bearish structure? When I say bullish, I mean buys. When I say bearish, I mean sales. When I say buys, I mean up. When I say sales, I mean down. Stick with me. Okay, let's keep it going. Like I said, check the previous day, right, as well. Previous day is usually, we're more than likely going to continue it. You feel me? And it's just going to stack on top of each other until we get into like today, where we have a potentially market reversal, right? This will be something I'll look out for, because more than likely we're going to use this sweep of liquidity right here and this 4 hour for value gap down here as a reversal point, right, where we can continue up. So be careful for those. But more than likely, if we're just running through liquidity, you can expect us to continue from previous day price action, right? Now, another thing too is the Asia and London sessions. Usually, what I notice is sometimes okay, if you boys don't know the power 3, let's go ahead and do this out for you. Power 3, we have accumulation. This is 3 different phases inside of the market: accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, right? So this accumulation phase is usually what Asia session does, or London session, right? One of these sessions is going to do that, right? So if we look over here, we see that we're accumulating, right? We're not really going anywhere during the Asia session, right? And The next phase is manipulation, where we take these lows down here, right? So this low, right, and it's the same thing for the highs being taken. So if it was up here, we'd start going down. But this is called manipulation, right? So that's where we begin to sweep the highs of Asia or London. I'm gonna show you both examples. But when we sweep these highs or these lows, and we begin to reverse, right? So if we look back over here at this example for sales, we see that we were accumulating. London session comes in and take out Asia highs, and then we have the distribution phase where we begin to fall, right? Now for a live example, a bullish example right here, we have Asia. Asia is distributing. London comes through, manipulates, and we continue to distribute to the upside. This is a buy reversal right here. Now, the reason I said London session as well is because sometimes during New York session, we manipulate London session, right? So right here, for example, we ended up manipulating both Asia and London session during New York, and then we began to distribute, right? So let's look at the previous overnight sessions, right? If you look at the previous overnight sessions, they usually help you continue to find your bias, right? If you stack that on top of the higher time frame with the higher higher time frame bias as well in the previous day, you will have a good way to find biases. Now I'm going to tie all of this in real quick, so pay attention. Today, for example, today we had a bearish day, right? And we could tell we were going to be bearish because the market is overly bearish right now, right? We dumped up here, continued to dump today, and we failed to come above these highs and continue down on the downside to the upside. I mean, my bad, right? And another reason, we could see Asia and London session ended up chopping right here, right? We didn't get a distribution, but that's because we are a manipulation, and that's because we got it during the New York session. I'm gonna show you. We ended up breaking through these lows. When we have strong breaks of structure like this through lows, more than likely that tells us we have a reasoning of going down, right? And that reasoning was previous day low. Notice how I'm tying everything in together, right? We're looking at the sessions. We're looking at the higher time frame closing candles, right? This is a 30-minute time frame where we close below these lows, right? We manipulate. This is our manipulation phase right here, where we manipulate above this these equal highs and stuff like that into this 30-minute fair value gap, right? Or it's an hour fair value gap as well, whatever you want to call it. We manipulate into that fair value gap, and then we continue the trend. You get what I'm saying? And that's all it usually be, right? We usually manipulate something and then we continue in that direction, right? That's why I tell you it's important to know the trend of the market and know what we previously have done so we can continue that phase, right? Because that's all we did today. Manipulate. We have the accumulation right here. And I'm gonna make a video on Power 3. I'm just giving y'all like a little sneak peek. But we have accumulation right here. We manipulate into a 30-minute fair value gap, and then we distribute it down to the downside. Your entry could have been somewhere like right here, right? This could have been your entry right here. Stops above those highs, and well, previous day lows right here. But you can aim for these lows down here, something like that, and TP would have been smacked in 9 minutes. So yeah, man, that's how I usually find my daily buys. Another thing I do, I'm gonna just tie my strategy in with it. Is I use my volume profile tool, and I look at how we ran through these volume area highs and lows. Like we ran through this volume area low right here. So more than likely, when we come back to this low, if we come back to this low, we're going to use it as resistance now, right? So it was support, and we ran through it. Now it gets flips to resistance, right? Same thing for over here. Got these volume area lows and highs. We didn't really run through this, but we did bring our way, like we brought ourselves down, and then we used it. I know in the higher time frame we used it or something like that. Let me see another good example here. For example, right here, we just ran through it. When we have strong bullish price action, when we retrace back to the volume area lows or highs, more than likely we're going to continue in that direction that it ran through, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps. That little small part, that's part of my strategy, so y'all know how to use that. Hopefully that helps, man. Like I said, I'm gonna be dropping more videos. I'm gonna try to drop daily. Like I'm gonna try to drop like 100 days straight. Like 100 days, right? That's my goal. And I just made that up in my head. So if y'all boys have any more videos y'all would like to see, let me know down in the comments down below. With that being said though, God loves y'all. I'll catch y'all in another video. Peace out.